My name is David Vonderhaar. I am the studio design director at Treyarch for Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
David, talk about Black Ops 4 and what you showed here at the reveal event.
Now, we put out 3 things today. First up, we talked about the new experiences that we have in competitive multiplayer. Talking about our core changes to the way guns work, the way movement works, the way situational awareness works, and how the map flow and pacing comes together. We also introduced and announced 3 on-disc zombie experiences, including a new set of characters with that. And then finally, just a small tease about a little thing we call Blackout, and that's Battle Royale done the Black Ops way.
I'll talk about some of the stuff that stuck out to me personally is you now have a button, you've gotten rid of health over time automatically. You now have to press a button, and the button is also on a cooldown to heal.
That's what we got rid of the automatic regen, and now pressing the button will start the regen process, but if you take any damage while that's happening, it'll get interrupted. Now this puts some pacing in the combat flow, right? Because you gotta decide when you want to get disengaged from fighting. That's similar to making the decision about when to reload. That's 2 points in the loop that extends the firefights a little bit longer, get a little bit slower TDK out of the game that way, a lot more trades, and a lot more decision points. And that's really important if you're trying to kind of pull down the pace of the combat loop, make a little more military, a little more tactical, make those decisions count just a little bit more than just the first guy who shoots at you, right? I like it because as a situational player, as a tactical player, I can sort of maybe win firefights by being smarter than the other guy, not just being faster on the trigger.
You guys also have another thing, grenades on cooldown timers now, even through death.
Cooldowns for both healing and for equipment usage, right? And that's different for something that's been inventory based all this time, right? Things aren't super special if you get them every time you respawn, but you put some little more rarity into them, then you can control the flow better, and then they count, right? At some point, you just stop caring about things that you just always get every time you die. Now, when you don't, it can actually be a little more powerful. A grenade can be a little more threatening because you're not going to be bombarded with them all the time.
So 3 years ago, verticality was the name of the game for evolution of first-person shooters. You're now going back to boots on the ground. What made you guys decide on the decision to keep it very grounded?
Yeah, there's 2 main things, really. I mean, obviously, there's some of our favorite fans like a more boots on the ground style experience for sure, but it's not like wall running and thrust jumping doesn't have its fans from 3 as well. But our motivation inside the building is to create a tactical experience. You have to frame the combat and keep it in frame, and wall running and thrust jumping sort of put dimensionality into the combat that isn't necessarily the best thing for the tactical paced flow of game that we wanted to create with 4.
And also one of the major things that I noticed in your gameplay trailers, you can now see enemies' health in real time while you're playing.
Yeah, and damage output too. So you know exactly how much you're putting damage on a player. Everybody gets to participate. It's called EKIA. It's not just about who got the last shot anymore. Guys who do high damage but don't always get the kill are rewarded. All of that's part of the same package, right? So you know when guys are healed up and you know when you're not, and maybe you'll actually target the weaker prey first, right? All of these things are important, like real-time tactical decision-making. It's all about that situational awareness and the changes there. It's all part of that massive package.
Call of Duty has always been great on console, but you guys are taking like an extra leap for this game when it comes to PC. Talk about some of the key changes you're making for that platform.
So this is a game that has a complete support team with our friends at Beanox and actually people inside the building as well. Partnered up all the time. We see them a lot. We talk about a lot. In fact, I personally often go through the list of things that they feel like would enhance the PC experience. And you combine that team at Beanox with our friends at Blizzard, and you're coming out with a game that is going to work right away very naturally on the PC. Even our own user experience and UI is constructed to be also good for keyboard mouse players. So this is from the start a game that's cross-platform in this way.
You guys gone are the days of Steam. You guys have your own launcher now via blizzard.net. What's that like?
So look, it's our first time as a Call of Duty title, so it's our first time as a team working with the Battle.net guys, and we see them a lot, and it's more than just the launcher to us. The integration on their platform, along with the support from how they approach things on the PC, and specifically with the territories that they have experience with for PC SKUs, has all been really helpful in that cross-collab between Treyarch, Beanox, and Blizzard to be sure that we create the absolute best PC experience we can for Black Ops fans.
Call of Duty is well known through the community as like, you can run and gun lone wolf if you want, but you have a more centric team-based system in this one in plan. Talk about a little bit about that.
So there's a couple different things here, right? So not everybody can be the best shooter. Only one guy on your team can be the best shooter, right? Only one guy on the enemy team can be the best shooter. Look, guns are still a big deal. There's still create a class. You still pick guns. You still take attachments. It's not like your gun doesn't matter. It matters as much or more as it ever has. But every specialist can do something very unique into the situation, right? Battery's War Machine makes her the explosive expert, right? Crash has the ability to actually heal opponents, right? Team comp can matter in unique ways just with those things, right? Because every specialist has a special, and every specialist has what they call a special ability, and then every specialist has special issue equipment that only they can equip, like a grapple gun for Ruin. But he also doesn't have to equip it. He can opt for more traditionalized stuff, actually opt out of those things. So it matters for the team, right? I run with the group that's known as Wins Before KD. We care about winning. We play to win. We pick combinations of players and characters that fit our personal limitations as players and our strengths as players, and we can roll over straight slayers through superior teamwork, superior communication, and superior choice of our specialists.
So one of the key factors that's always difficult to adjust since the dawn of time of Call of Duty games, as well as Overwatch, is spawning. Talk about how you're handling the spawning system in your game.
Yeah, so every time you spawn, you actually see the spawn map, right? So that's because when Seraph has the attack deploy out, she can actually command spawn. So you can actually then choose to spawn off of her special issue gear, which is called the attack deploy, or you can let the system spawn. So all the core things that make Treyarch spawning work so well still are there. But then Seraph has that special ability to kind of extend past that, and that's important for flow control. A well-placed attack deploy can really make or break an objective push.
Can you talk about what you guys have learned from your esports relationship with these professional players and how their input has improved the overall multiplayer experience?
That is a very vocal group of people, and they are not ashamed to talk to me about those things. That's why we love those guys. And we have a pretty good one-on-one partnerships and relationships with them. And also, with Jay Perrier, our director for that kind of thing. We saw those guys just a couple days ago, so we'll get their input early. But we want Black Ops 4 to be a game that any player would love. If you were a fan of 1, if you were a fan of 2, if you were a fan of 3, maybe you're a fan of some of those and not all of those. Esports player, not esports player. This is our best opportunity right now, after a decade worth of experience working with all those different types of individuals, all those different types of fans, including the esports guys, to create something that everybody can enjoy. At all times, no matter which of those types. That's the great thing about a game like Black Ops. It has lots of fans, and not all of them would agree with us or each other about what the best thing to do is, but I think we got it right here.
So I've interviewed you multiple times over the years, as well as the devs over at Sledgehammer, and the question I always ask is, are you going to bring back Juggernaut perk? And today I saw for the first time a vest that reduces damage. I thought that was too hard to balance. That's amazing. How were you able to get that back into the game, the reduced damage effect, and how does it work?
Right, so let me talk about body armor very specifically and how that works. So it's actually, unlike Juggernaut, it actually breaks down over time. So when bullets come in, it's also applying damage to the actual bullet vest. So it'll actually dismantle. It'll stop working after a certain period of time, after a certain amount of damage. But the real reason is the health mechanic's different. You actually are starting off with 150 health, not 100. The way that you can modify health, the ballistic shield from other characters like Torque, all of these things change the way that model works, right? So Juggernaut is a problem you had in a game that doesn't have these kinds of mechanical differences. That's a long time ago. If you put that on players, you can visualize it, you can see it, and you can understand how to combat it, and you can, by the way, good headshot there solves that problem, right? Then it's just fine. We need the variety in the combat. We need the pacing differences. We need to evolve.
You guys, since you guys are cousins with Blizzard, did you guys talk to the developers of Overwatch at all to see how you can improve on your shooter with any advice or inspirations from their game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw the trailer about the PC, but we've known the guys at Overwatch, Jeff Kaplan, for a while. In fact, they came to see us early on to talk about control inputs for the console version of Overwatch. And then we are partners with them. And one of the great things about being friends with a development studio like that particular team is, it's rare that you get to talk to other developers about the game that you're making. Plenty of people will give us feedback about the game, from Activision, from esports, from anywhere, right? But for us to have that kind of partnership, we go to them, they show us stuff that they're working on, they come to us, we show them stuff that they're working on, we talk it over, and it's just feedback, right? It's just guys doing similar things who love video games talking, and it's a really great partnership and friendship that we have there.
And the last question I have is Battle Royale mode. How?
What do you mean?
How does it work? Because I just imagine, Call of Duty is very twitchy, very fast-paced, very, very close quarters, and you're taking this as your biggest map you've ever made before, and you're adding vehicles. How?
Well, that's in our lineage to bring vehicles, starting with World at War, by the way. So look, how? You say, how zombies exist? Is that fast-paced and twitchy? Right? Black Ops is what it needs to be to service what it is. Multiplayer is fast-paced. This is a Battle Royale game. This is a last man standing game. It's the fluidity of the control. It's the fidelity of the mechanics, right? But you've already seen that we're not afraid to get to up the health. We're not afraid to do the things that make sense. And, even some of the most popular Battle Royale games, you don't have to take a couple of shots and you're dust. So it's not as different as you think, right? You don't need to respawn to have fun. We've had Search and Destroy for 10 plus years. This is, a very popular mode, especially competitively. So how? Just like you'd expect, the things that make sense from our legacy and history and the classic bits that work for a Battle Royale game are there, and the things that aren't. It's not MP. It's its own mode 3. It's its own experience.
When will we see gameplay this mode?
When Activision says I can show it to you. Probably.
Great answer, actually.
It's the best I got.
When does Black Ops 4 come out, and what platforms will it be on?
I believe we're October 12th. That's what I said. October 12th. It's the earliest we've ever been out. I got to get used to the new date. It's going to be great to get that in the arms and hands of the fans earlier.
And bonus question, any plans for Nintendo Switch?
No comment.